Hey guys, believe it or not, there is actually something wrong with this banner. And I'm gonna give about 30 seconds to tell you what that might be. There is a new hero on an otherwise old hero's banner. This is actually a Tempest Trials banner, with Ira there being the brand new hero. Now, if you were to take this into modern times, imagine a hero like Fallen Ike being released with regular Ike and Klein as like a focus banner. Would that seem a little bit weird? Yeah, that was 2017 Heroes for you folks. Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you another Fire Emblem Heroes video, as always. This video will be more or less another talk piece, I'm going to call it. So pretty much I'm going to go over a bit of the past of Fire Emblem Heroes and more of the recent events we've had, and kind of give you my take on a couple of things. So a little bit of history, but also how we can influence history, because this is very important when it comes to why certain decisions are made in this game, and how you as a player, or possibly as a community, us all together, really change how the game is developed or certain actions are made by the developers. This is very important, and there are patterns in place, plus a lot of things I'm going to show you guys, really kind of affirm my hypothesis. At the end of the day, this is just a guess, because I'm not in touch with the developers, but there's a lot of actions that kind of speak to what happens here. So first I want to start by kind of showing you what my situation in Heroes is right now, because maybe that could help you make your own good choices. For those of you that don't know, I'm completely F2P, always pretty much have been. This account has been around since Fjorm's Legendary Banner, so it's not a day one account. I played a day one account before, but that account has long since been retired. This is F2P since Fjorm's Legendary Banner. Now, the goal of this account has always been to be competitive, but also to make and basically play characters I enjoy playing, even at a competitive level. When it comes to a choice between a competitive level and a favorite character, I will opt usually for the competitive choice. Because, to be honest, it's not fun to lose with characters that suck, okay? Like, I don't know what kind of players do like this, but, like, you should at least try to use characters that are both at least serviceable and you're having fun. Because, to me, losing's not fun. So, I will make a choice where I can choose characters I like. So, that's the first and foremost thing. But, if you guys have noticed, I have tons of coins, tons of stones, tons of orbs, tons of feathers, tons of stamina that don't actually play the game. Just kidding. No, there's nothing to spend stamina on right now. I've pretty much completed everything. So what I'm going to say with this is, you guys may have realized that we've had an amazing Hero Fest just happen, and we have the Cyl Banner happen just now, and you're probably wondering, what the heck? How have you not spent all your orbs, Akariss? I haven't even spent tickets or picked up the freebie. So I'm going to go over this real fast. For those of you that don't know, I consider the debut Cyl Banner to be like a bait. Really, it is a bait. The biggest bait of all year, actually. Because it's a bunch of favorite heroes and everyone is like going crazy over either the strength of these heroes or just because they're favorites and everyone wants a piece. The thing is, you get one for free, and unless you bring them usually to plus 10, you don't see their full power realized. So what I want to say is, if I wanted to make one of these like my core unit, I want to use them a lot, I'm going to make sure that I bring them to full power. And the best way to do that is to make sure I spend orbs to get as many copies of them as I can. So the best way to do that, and for those of you who don't know, is a Hero Fest. CYL units, all of them have shown many reruns on Legendary, Mythic, and Hero Fest. They have actually shown up on Hero Fest, usually like half a year later, sometimes like a year later, and that's okay. Like that, I'm willing to wait that time to make sure my favorite of this bunch ends up being a very powerful and frequently used unit in my game. So that's why I have all those orbs, that's why I have a bunch of resources, because I like to be patient and make my decision with confidence. If you're not doing some sort of mentality like this, even those of you that may pay for orbs, the thing is, it's actually better to wait for the Hero Fest anyways, even if you're a paying customer, paying player, because you're spending less money. Like, your orb per dollar value is still better on a Hero Fest, and sometimes a Legendary or Mythic banner if you like the other choices as well, than it is to just spend everything here. Now, sparking, meaning you go for 40 summons and get a guaranteed copy, is still guaranteed value, and I do think that's still a good idea. For example, let's say you want to make Dimitri your core unit here, then I would actually recommend picking up the free Dimitri, spending 40 summons and getting that additional Dimitri and starting with a +1. He's probably serviceable in like Ether raids at that point, and you'll be able to finish him off with 9 more copies as long as you save orbs until the next time he shows up on a rerun, because he will show up on a rerun, and it will be better orb value here than this. The mathematics support that. Better to wait just like a little bit of time and be ready for when that happens. So that's my situation. For those of you that may not know it because you don't come to the Twitch or you're not part of the Discord community. So if you want like more detailed answers, be sure to jump into the Discord or the Twitch channel, see for yourself what's going on, and kind of get a good feel for everything on my account and how I play the game. Because man, I have a lot of fun. Even to this day, I'm actually still having a lot of fun playing this game. And resource management and developing my characters like this is still very fulfilling. So there's a very nice long-term gratification associated with this. Okay, so that's me, but I want to actually talk about intelligent systems and some of the good decisions they made recently. For those of you that don't know, this is the Hero Fest, basically storm that we saw. Essentially, our most recent Hero Fest had, Sothis, Ephraim, Nagi, and Bernadetta on it. They were a good Hero Fest, especially dual Ephraim, I would say, and Sothis, for those of you who don't have defense mythics. Very good pickups. The other two weren't slacking either. Distant Counter and Lulls and Push 4 are solid on a good unit. So, now, Intelligent Systems doesn't actually have a good history of making good PR decisions, to be honest. They actually don't, and I'm gonna look at that in the next step of this video. Like, I'm gonna go through what bad decisions they've actually done and how it affects the game. But this is a shocker to me. According to the actual Fed channel, the Hero Fest, like, if we followed past Hero Fest, they would have had like old 2017 5-stars on them anyways, and 2018 5-stars on them. So it's kind of weird to see like, oops, the Hero Fest was supposed to have new stuff on it. Only new stuff, only the newest 5-stars. This is kind of weird, but I guess miscommunications happened between the Fed channel and whatnot. So yeah, I'm like kind of confused by this, but nonetheless, it did create a sort of bad feeling amongst people. And knowing Intelligent Systems, I was totally expecting them to just give us like 5 orbs and call it a day, or even that. But no, they actually did something good. They gave everyone who summoned old stuff, new stuff, the focus hero. So if you got like an old 2017 5-star like Mist, you get Bernadetta instead. That was amazing. This is actually a huge, great PR move. And if I was paying in this game, or if I had some extra income, this would be the time exactly when this notification was released to say, here, I'm gonna buy a couple packs to say, good job developers, this is what we want to see in the future. This is the ideal time to like spend money, because money talks. Always has. A lot of corporations like this look at the statistics, they look at the day it lands, what news came out on that day, what exactly caused an uprise in their profits. Believe it or not, and we're going to get to this for number 3, I'd say the players are responsible for a lot of the bad decisions the developers make. It's kind of like a spiral, a downward spiral of like bad. To make it simple, it's a downward spiral of just bad, because essentially, and this is what happens: a new banner comes out, people spend money and summon on the first day, and what IS sees, what the developer sees is, oh, okay, a new banner came out on the first day, we made a lot of money, so you know what, we're just going to keep releasing banners and withhold information for future banners so people spend as much money as they can. This happens, okay? This actually happens. But when we see news like this, we're like, we should be happy and reward them, even though there's no direct thing to spend on, like on a banner and such. We should, well, in this case there was, but news, and it's like good news, then, you know, you should speak with your wallet. Now, of course, a single person doing this doesn't usually add up, but let's say you rarely spend. IS tracks all this stuff. So if you are someone who's never spent in the game, or spent like maybe once a year on like a banner, for instance, that doesn't say much. But if you spend when this happens and you normally don't, IS will likely have the data behind that. So good decisions by good spending. That's usually how it'll go here. Another thing I want to show is, of course, just something else. Again, similar, good decision made. Now, a lot of people like to cry power creep and how like the game is always it's hard to keep up. This is obviously not true. If you guys have been watching the gameplay under me, I'm literally using Summer Xander in 2020 against 2020 units, or 2019 some of them, and winning, okay? So no, you can totally win with old units in a modern game as long as you execute it properly. But anyways, regardless, this is another good example of intelligent systems kind of listening and not completely abandoning the old stuff. Dragon flowers are a perfect solution to old units remaining viable. New units get 5 flowers, old units get up to 15 now if they're in infantry, which means the old unit gets an additional 10 stats off of the flowers over the new units, which only get 5. So this kind of closes the gap between the two different units who might have different stats, and that's great. So I totally expect in a year or two the same thing will happen. We'll get another stat increase. The newest units get 5, the older units get an increase in the cap to 5, which means the gap will almost always stay relatively the same. You can keep using your old stuff, and this is again good news. This is the sort of stuff we want to see, so the game has long-term fun, long-term gratification, that you're actually not feeling like you're wasting everything trying to climb some uphill slope. Okay, so I showed you this banner at the beginning. It's the Ira Banner. It's very infamous, caused a lot of like controversy, and for good reason. This has never happened again. And the thing is, like, we had, I think it was an FE4 banner. We had like Sigurd, Deirdre released at that time, and Tale 2, and then Ira was just not there. And then she came out like a couple days later on the Tempest Trials banner, which was this Eldigan, Ira, and Lechisius. Big issue, because first of all, the math behind summoning wasn't fully, like, people didn't know it that well. So they saw seeing Eldigan there with 2 reds meant that you had a lower chance of Ira. This is pretty much false. You had a maybe like 0.05% lower chance of getting Ira versus Eldigan not being there. Actually, the fact that this is a 3-person banner versus a 4-person banner means it was easier to get Ira here than it would be on a 4-person banner. But regardless of that, the thing is, this came out just feeling kind of like shady, because we see like a new heroes banner trailer. You get your new heroes, people summon on day 1. You see it, the company sees an uptick of profit, and what they want to do, what they basically tried to do here is from my interpretation, is not release a new heroes trailer banner, release a really powerful unit, because Ira was really strong at that time, on another banner with old units, and no preview of that unit, but knowing that the unit is really strong, and knowing that people have already spent 20 or most of their orbs on the new heroes that just came out in the form of Sigurd and Deirdre and Tale 2. And at that time, Sigurd had like a stat increase as well, so he seemed pretty appealing. So yeah, I mean, Ira definitely rubbed people the wrong way. That was a bad decision, obviously, on the developers' part. I think they were just testing the waters, and the thing is, people weren't prepared for it. But at the end of the day, players probably spent their orbs and their money on that first day of seeing a new banner before seeing what was coming up. Because if you look at a lot of these banners, they last like 14 days, 2 weeks, up to a month sometimes. And there's no good reason to literally summon on day 1 and spend your money on day 1 without seeing what information comes next. Okay, so I'm going to show you another banner where this happened. Yes, this is the Surtur Ylgr banner. This is a 2-person banner. A 2-person banner has even better literally better rates of getting these. In fact, there were literally cases of people spending less than 500 orbs to plus 10 these units because it's only 2 people, so focus was divided between them, which was insane. Really insane. Like, literally better than a Hero Fest. But the thing with this banner is it seemed really good at the time, and I still think it is actually really good at the time for how many orbs you spent. But what came after it, and literally a 6-hour gap between it and the next banner, was this. Okay? So, for those of you who don't know, Mythics came out right as soon as that Surtur banner was finishing. Most people dumped their orbs for Surtur, or at least a big portion of it, and boom, we get a Hero Fest with some of the best units at that time. I forget Owain. Owain's kind of the weird one here, but you have Special Spiral, a Rally Up, a very strong Mage, and now new Mythics. Mythics have just came out. Mythics were required, and still are, obviously, to advance in one of the competitive modes, Ether Raids. And the fact that this is a Hero Fest means that you will never see this again. You will never see Air as a 5% not on a legendary banner to get so many copies. At this time, I had held on to my 1,000 orbs and I hadn't committed to like Surtur because I felt like something was coming at the dawn of like a new patch. It was around December, I think, at that time. So I actually had a choice, a 4-hour gap choice between Surtur and Air. And I said, wow, you really need these new mythics to compete in the new mode. So Surtur was appealing for Arena at that time. Ether Raids was already out, but it didn't have the whole mythic system in place. And I said, okay, I gotta commit to the new mode and spend my orbs wisely there. As you can see, the people who get rewarded on their accounts play long term. This is like fundamentally a good thing to know, even for life, folks. Like, you shouldn't make impulsive, irrational decisions. You should always kind of weigh out options, or at least use as much time as you can to make a good decision. So that's essentially what it came down to here. I waited a long time to see what the next banner was. IS held on to that information as much as possible to make sure everyone had dumped everything onto the Surtur banner. I didn't spend a single orb on the Surtur banner. I saw the Hero Fest, and I was like, wow, okay. Boom. That's what IS was doing. They weren't going to release the new patch, the new mythics, any information without essentially making sure everyone had spent money or orbs on something previously. Okay. So I talked about this near the beginning. I'll talk about it again. Here's the new CYL banner. The CYL banner seems very appealing. You got new units, you got really powerful skills, you got really powerful units. At plus 10, they break barriers currently in the game. Like, Edelgard would be the highest scoring individual unit, more than a duo hero right now. Claude is a standalone super strong tank. Dimitri, a little bit struggling because he's a blue and a green meta, like green defensive meta, but otherwise still a very powerful unit. Lysithea is like the PvE queen. So, like, you know, this seems like super appealing to most people, favorites and all. But as I said previously, this happens. So I'm using the CYL 3 because this happened, I believe, on the anniversary, which was like 6 months after, like literally half a year later. If you had just not spent the orbs, you know, on the debut banner, you come back later and you get all of these at much better rates. So not only do you get more copies of maybe an off focus, like not an off focus, but like one that you weren't trying to get. Let's say you were going to plus 10 Brave Micaiah later, you maybe got a few copies of Elwood. So for Ruse and Rally Pluses, just pulling blue whenever you didn't see green. And this would happen far more often than obviously the old banner. So the point of the takeaway of this whole video, guys, is you as players can influence the decision of developers by making good decisions, okay? By not spending day one, by not summoning day one, IS, or at least, like, you know, creating a storm, creating, you know, speaking your mind. So like when we had the whole Hero Fest debacle, miscommunication, obviously sending feedback and just kind of tweeting or discussing it on forums and such will definitely cause the developers some awareness, and we can create good decisions like made by the developers. And I want to encourage that for the long-term health of the game. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say for this video. I hope you guys did take something away from this. And, you know, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You know, hit up the Twitch if you want more discussions. Discord as well has plenty of this sort of stuff. So, yeah, you know what, guys? Thank you for watching, as always. I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Peace.